Hi everyone, and welcome to Mystery Monday live on Facebook. And hi if you're catching the replay here or on YouTube. I have to admit I've been a bit slack with YouTube, but on the weekend I did actually get all caught up. So all of the videos from the past quite a few months now are up there. So if you're wanting to watch any of the replays, YouTube's a good place to go. And they're always here on Facebook as well. Hi Deborah, how are you? Hope well. Thank you so much for joining me tonight everyone. My name is Lucia Byzantine and I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator in Melbourne, Australia. Do let me know if you're watching because I would love to say hi. So I've got, I did put some measurements up. Hi Carol Ann, how are you? I did put some measurements up on the post before this, just if anyone wanted to make along with me. You can use any stamp, doesn't really matter. It was just more for the layout. But I will be showing you what I had promised last week, which is the Delicate Dahlias, which are just gorgeous. I do love this stamp set and I have played with it loads as well. Hi Anita, how are you? So this is one of the sets that you can receive from Sale-a-bration if you spend $180 in an order. Most of the products are $90, but this one's a special one as it's a two-step stamping and it's also a distinctive stamp as well, which means there's just a load more definition in the actual stamp. So you get shading as well when you actually stamp them too. Hi Sue and hi Joan. So please, if you haven't checked out the Sale-a-bration catalogue, do, because there are some wonderful products. I'm actually using a few of the products tonight, so I will use the stamp set. I am using a tiny little bit of the bedazzled specialty paper, and I am also using another small piece of the Penguin Playmates. Hi Lisa, Penguin Playmates designer series paper as well, which I think on the other side does have the penguins, but I'm just using the Misty Moonlight side for that. So let's get started. So like I said, the stamp is a distinctive stamp and it is also a two-step stamp. Now being that it's two-step, what I have done with mine, because it is a little bit hard to see and both pieces look the same whatever way you put them, I've actually matched them up, and I don't know whether you can see. I might just pop something behind them. I've actually just popped a little mark on both of them, so when I do stamp them, I know if that mark is at the top of my stamp, I'm going to stamp them both exactly the same and over each other, so that they match. So I found, for me, that was the easiest way to do it. So for this one here, I am going to only use the the outline. Hi Jenny. I'm only going to use the outline, and I'm going to use the "Thank you so kindly" sentiment as well. So I will pop that aside and just pop those on my blocks. Now for what I'm using, I've just got a regular card base here. So I've got 21 centimeters by 14.85 and I've scored it at the 10.5 mark. The designer series paper is 14.85, so the length of the card, by 3.5 centimeters. The little piece of bedazzling is 13.5, so a little shorter than our card, by 1 centimeter. And this was just a strip. When I'm cutting all my cardstock, I end up with all these tiny little strips. So this was just a strip that I had, which is probably about 4 millimeters wide, and I will cut it down so it's the same as the bedazzling, so 13.5 centimeters. So I will start off with my stamping. So I'll just pop all of that aside. So with the stamping, I am going to be doing some embossing. So what I have done is I do have a piece of watercolour paper. It's fluid watercolour paper that we use, or the Stampin' Up sells. It's $15.75 and you actually get 10 sheets. The sheets aren't A4. They are this size here, which is, I'm sure it tells me somewhere, 12.7 centimetres by 17.8 centimetres. But you do get, like I said, the 10 sheets in there, which is quite a bit. So I've actually cut a piece of that out using our Stitch So Sweetly dies as well. Okay, so I've already pre-done that, just so that I didn't waste any time cutting that out in front of you. And what I'm also going to use is my Versamark, and I do have some silver embossing powder as well. So I've got those two, and the other thing, what I will do first up is I am just going to stamp my sentiment on my piece here first, just so I know then where I can place my flower and what room I actually do have left. So I'm just inking up my Thank You So Kindly in Fresh Freesia, and I might pop it sort of towards the bottom half a little bit. Just hold our stamp there just for a couple of seconds so that the ink absorbs. Okay, that's done. Now the other thing I'm also going to do, because I am heat embossing, this is a little wet. Now it doesn't take very long to dry, but just to be on the safe side, I am just going to give it a little bit of a blast with the heat gun, just so that when I'm putting the embossing powder on, it doesn't stick to the sentiment at all. So I'll just, sorry, be a little bit noisy. And like I said, that's just so that the embossing powder doesn't stick to that. So I've got my stamp here. Now because my stamp is a little bit larger than the pad, I'm actually going to bring my pad to the dahlia, to the stamp. Just makes it a little bit easier to ink up then. What I will also use is I do have my foam mat from my Stamparatus. You can also purchase a piercing mat. What that's going to do is just give a little bit of cushioning to the stamp when we go to stamp it down. So I'm just going to pop this up the top, and again just give it a good amount of pressure. And I will ink it up again, and I'll put a little bit coming off that piece of cardstock at the bottom here as well. So we'll just go down the bottom here also, and again a nice bit of pressure, and just leave it there so it does absorb it a little bit. Okay, now you can't really see yet where I have stamped that, but once I put the powder on it, so this is the embossing powder, which is on page 128 of the catalogue. I am just going to sprinkle this all over. And just give it a good wiggle, just so that you know that the embossing powder is going everywhere. Probably don't flick it too hard because you don't want to flick it all off completely. Like I said, just making sure that you are getting the embossing powder everywhere. Now if you find that you've got a few little strays, look, not that it matters too much, but you can use, I'm just using my Take a Pick tool because I've just got a little bit of fluff on there that some of the powder is sticking to. That's a nice precise little tool to be able to get things off with. Now I'm going to move this completely out of my way before I start embossing. So now there will be a little bit of noise again. I'm going to just turn the heat gun on again. Now I hope you could see that changing as well, so it's actually gone quite shiny now too. I do love that. Hello Margaret, how are you? Well, I'm just going to pop that out of the way. So we're just doing a little bit of heat embossing, and now I'm going to do a little bit of watercolouring. Just take some of that powder off. Okay, so what I'm going to do for the watercolouring is just use my ink from my stamp pad. I'm just going to turn my ink pad over and just give it a little bit of a squeeze so I get a little bit of that ink pooling in the lid. What I'm also using are some water painters. Now when you buy the water painters, you actually get 3 different brushes. So you get quite a flat broad one for doing backgrounds, you get a medium and you get a small. So I'm actually going to use the small, might be the best one for me because I've got some fine details to do. I'll put those out of the way. I'll take my brush. So what I'm going to do now is just get a little bit of water. So I'm just squeezing, so I just get a little bit of water at the end there. Okay, so I'm just going to mix that with a bit of water and just give a really light wash. And then what you can do is you can actually go back then and fill in with some of the darker ink where you would like it to be a little bit darker. Now also, because we have embossed, it does mean that the ink is not going to go outside of the lines, which is another great thing as well. So again, I'm not being terribly careful. As you all know, I'm no artist, and I like things to be done nice and quick. So this is a great way of doing it, but we still can go back, like I said, in a moment and add a little more definition to some of those petals as well. I hope everyone's keeping busy. I'm not sure where everyone's from. I'm in Melbourne, so we're still in lockdown here. I'm pretty sure Rebecca usually watches, she's in New Zealand, so I'm pretty sure they're in lockdown too at present. So it just means that we're able to use up loads of our crafting supplies, if you've got the time and you're not working from home as well. So what I'm doing now, I've gone really lightly over it all, but now I am going to go over a few of the petals and just make them just that little bit darker. So it just gives it all just a little bit more oomph to the card then. So like I said, I'm still even keeping some of the outside ones Still making some of those quite dark as well. And I know usually you would have the inside of your flower lighter than the, the inside of your flower darker. But, you know, a little bit of artistic license doesn't hurt. So again, I'm just going to go over to this one and just, like I said, make some of them just that little bit darker. There's a nice lot of detail in this flower. It's a gorgeous stamp. Like I said, there are so many other beautiful things to choose from in the Sale-a-bration catalogue as well. It's a bit hard to know what to actually get. So that's what I've come up with. So like I said, just a nice water wash over it all. Now with your brush, all you need to do is to clean it is just run the water through it a little bit. So I'm just squeezing ever so slightly, and then the tip of it, then just run clean. Okay, and there is water just poured, not poured, there is a water well inside the handle of that, which is where it all sits. So like I said, that's a nice way of doing it. The other way is, if you hadn't embossed it, you can just stamp it and then use the other stamp to colour it in. So you could use this one and then pop that one over the top to colour it too. That also looks good. So I will show you what we did with the rest of the cards. So what I will also do now is just to give it again a little bit of colour and to tie it in with my card that I have. I've got the Misty Moonlight here and my blending brush. I'm just going to apply a little bit of ink to the blending brush. I do it in a circular motion, then I do tap it off a little bit on the side here, just so it's not, I don't get that big blobby bit. I'm just going to put a little bit of colour onto this. And like I said, it will just then tie it in with the card a little bit. So I'm not going to make it too dark. And that's probably all. I don't think I will go any darker than that, to be honest. I think that's plenty. Put paper away. Okay, so now for the assembly. Like I said, always quick and easy cards. I do like quick and easy. So just burnish where I've scored it, just so it folds nicely. I'm just going to glue that down first. Sorry, reaching over you. Hi May, how are you? Nice to see you. Well, I see you're writing at least. Who else is there? Jenny and Susan. Hi, how are you? So I'm just going to stick this down fairly close to the left-hand side. Okay, now with this one here, what I would like to do is just have a tiny bit of that showing there. So I think I'm going to use the tear and tape for this. Might be a little easier. I'll just work up a little bit further so you can see me. I'll pop that on the back of the beautiful bedazzling specialty paper here. And just take the back off. So what I'm going to do now is just lay it on top of that fresh freesia. It's a bit of a mouthful actually. So I only want to see a little bit of it anyway. You've just got that tiny bit showing then, and I've still got adhesive on the back, which is kind of handy because I can now use that adhesive to stick it down onto the card. So make sure I've got about the same both ends. And pop that on. Okay, then with this one here, I shall put that on dimensionals. Do you know what? I was never a really big flower fan, to be honest, but I've been using some gorgeous flowers that Stampin' Up have put out recently. So I've had this one here, the Dahlia. I'll show you the other cards I've made because you'll see how much I am absolutely in love with it, Deborah. But the other one that I have used loads is the hand pen petals. And I think again it's because it is so easy to use, because it's a two-step stamping. I can actually colour in with the stamp. And I think that's coming from possibly a lazy stamper, you might call me. No, not lazy. I just like things to be quick and efficient, and that's quick and efficient. Just being able to stamp the colour onto it, and that's where the stamps that are the distinctive stamps really come into their own. So that I'm just going to pop kind of in the centre, and then to finish it off, because there's not enough bling on it already, we might just pop a little bit more. So these are just the in colour jewels. So the Fresh Freesia is an in colour, so we might just use some of these little jewels. And pop them on. And some of our empty spaces. It's actually got a little bit of the blue in it too, so it's actually a nice colour little jewel to put on that, because it's kind of got the freesia as well as the brings out the misty moonlight once you get it on there as well. The other thing I have is a piece of white to put inside, and what we could possibly also do with that is maybe stamp. I might stamp the little flower on the inside. Oh, actually, we might just go this. And then you can see what the distinctive stamp looks like on it as well. Put that one off. So what I've done is just bought the foam piece again out, just so I've got something a little bit softer to stamp on, and I will use the Fresh Freesia again. Now my ink is quite juicy, so hopefully it still stamps with enough definition. And I might just pop it in the bottom corner actually. And there you go, that's how the full one stamps out, which is quite pretty too. So get rid of that, get rid of those, and then we can pop this one on the inside. And again, just using the Tombow liquid glue, like I said, just so it gives me a little bit of time just to get that straight. And that is our card sorted. So that's what we've done tonight. This is what I have copied it from. Well, the other card that I've made that was very much the same. And here's another one as well. So the other thing you can do is actually stamp on the background too of your card, just to take a little bit of that plainness away from it. I have also embossed this one in black, so it does give you a little bit of a different look, being that it's black. Add a little bow, so you know, not very different, but just a little bit different. But then I did make some others. Like I said, I started playing with this and I did just really love it. So that was the first card I made. So I had a sketch challenge, which just had 3 little circles and a strip through the middle. So I thought doing just the little posies of flowers on that one would be nice. And most of these are the in colours. So I've got the fresh freesia, the polished pink, and the pale papaya. And the soft succulent is the background. So then another one, and I do love my Misty Moonlight. So Misty Moonlight for this one and fresh freesia, and still use the soft succulent, but this one I've actually done in the distinctive stamp. So that one's done in the distinctive stamp. This one here I've actually used both. So I've used the distinctive stamp in the background and then used the outline over the top, and just did it for the top one. So the back ones are just the distinctive, whereas the top one I've used both. So when you're looking at the photos later, you'll be able to see that as well. And then that was another little one too. So again, embossed in the silver, just so it matched the papers as well there. But that is, it is so sparkly. Just watching it back on the video, it really does catch the light, doesn't it? So there are our cards. I might just bring down the one we made tonight at least as well. So then, like I said, just stamping that stamp on the background would look quite good as well. And the other colour that I did have a go at is just doing it in the clear embossing powder too. But it just didn't have as much. When I started doing the clear on the white background, it just did sort of fade away a little bit. But if you wanted something a little bit more subtle, that would actually be nice as well. So lots of Hobart girls on tonight, aren't there, which is nice. My old hometown. So that's all I have there. Still have my host code going, so if you do order anything in the next couple of days, because the host code is only till next day, only goes until tomorrow, till the 31st, and then I'll change it for another one, so I'll pop that on the site as well. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you've got any questions, please ask. I'm always around afterwards as well to answer any questions online if you post them here as well. And that is it. I hope you've had a good time. I hope you have a lovely week, and I hope everyone keeps on crafting. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Bye.